So, and I made it like wider up here and narrow down there so it looks more like a jewel. You know, I didn't make this wide, wide part in the center because then it would just be a symmetrical teardrop. I wanted it wider here. So with that in mind, I'm just going to pretend like this was never here, and I'll show you what I would do. I would probably make another outline so that when I do make my column, I would snap to the outline. It's just a lot easier that way because with the columns, you have access to the symmetry tools, but they're not as easy to use. Let me just look at this one. I did come in a little bit. So in that case, what I should do is I should probably make an outline, click snap to node, and just snap, snap, straight line. With this selected, insert, that's in the center. Then I'll insert, I got one there. I'll click here, insert, and one there. Whenever you insert, it goes directly in the middle of the two. So that's nice. So now I have two nodes to snap to down here. I'm going to do the same thing up at the top. It just makes it easier and more exact. So I'll grab the outline tool because, you know, this is wider up here. And so this is going to be wider. It'll be wider for the center object up here. So with this selected, I'll hit insert. With this selected, I'll hit insert. Select this, insert. I have two nodes that I'll use now for my center that I'll snap to. Okay, so I'm going to just turn these yellow just so I know to delete them later. And now I'll go ahead and I'll create this center column. And the way that I like to start usually is at the bottom where there's overlap, like the blue overlap. I don't know what this is here. I'm not sure. Because you always want to avoid starting at the top of anything small because that's when you create puckers. So we'll just start at the bottom here and I'll hit the column. And actually, no, I'm sorry, I forgot. So I'm going to stitch my center object with an outline first, and I'm going to snap to that outline. So I'll click the outline tool, and I'll click, and I'll snap it in the center, and straight line, snap there. And I'm not snapping there, I forgot. I'm snapping there halfway. And then come up here and I'm because I'm snapping to node. So, and then I'll make this wherever I feel it looks nice. It's actually snapping to a hidden object, so it's snapping to one of my other objects. I felt it snap. That's okay. It's probably the one that I already created, but that's all right. So then we'll click this, and we have to come to the center, make that straight, and it's snapping to that center node. So now I have it starting in the center here. I hold right mouse, drag it down, minus sign to zoom out, and center start here, center end there, and now I'll mirror this because, you know, you have to meet in the center in order to use the mirror correctly. So there's that. That looks pretty good. I like that. So that's what we'll snap to. So I'll hit the check or enter. Now I'll choose my column tool. I don't need these, but I'm just going to leave them there because sometimes I feel like I delete them and then I really do need them. So they're yellow, I'll know. This is yellow, I'll know to delete it as well. So go to my column tool, and I like to start at the bottom. So I'll click, and then I'll separate these two, and I'm snapping to node. So you see my dotted line, so that's going to be the direction of my column. Is going to be going horizontal like that, but I'm not going to make a column. Eventually, I'm going to turn this column into strips once I get into parameters, just so you know. But we started this way. So, and I have mode A chosen. So I'll just do one side at a time. This one is selected, that's fine. So I'll just click up here and I'll click there. So I'm snapping to node of the yellow. There I see a node right there. Snap there. Now I'm going to do the other side. Here's my dotted line. It's going to become horizontal in a minute. Click down here to the left side. Click up there, and there's my dotted line. Snap it up there, snap this one there, and there it is. And so now we don't want it to be yellow. We'll make it, well, I'll just make it blue, I guess. I'll make it a darker blue. So I'll just go into params now. So we don't want a regular column. We don't want sample. Click on strips. And I think I liked about maybe 13 or 15 strips. I'm not sure. But I'm going to make the min length of the stitches, the stitch length 2, and the max length 2.5. It just offers variety in here when you use strips. Keep these a little bit different. And I'll hit apply. Go into 3D. And I do have a little gap there. And you can put like a underlay under this. Like I could have taken this outline and turned it into a fill. And if you were in Studio Next, you could try some mesh patterns and whatnot to fill the background as well. And we can fill the background with a motif here as well too, but what I was thinking what you could do is go back into params. You can up the number of strips and hit apply, and it does fill in a little bit there. This is the only spot up here because of course it's where it gets wide. You could try, 3 layers. That didn't really do much. So I would just go back down to 1. Go up again in the number of strips. Okay, it's still got a little gap there. Let's take a look at the density map. Okay, the density map still looks okay. So it's not too dense. Yes, it's going to be dense down there because it's really small there, but that's not bad. Let's go back. That is interesting that it doesn't look symmetrical up here. So let me just go into edit. And it is symmetrical. Sometimes if you swap edges or do something, I don't know, sometimes that makes a difference, but I doubt it. Let's just see. Yeah, now it goes to that side. So it's the way it's generating for some reason. You could see the stitches don't look totally even up, consistent this side as opposed to that side. So let's just see if we can get some consistency without making it look too, okay, that filled it in. I mean, it doesn't have as much personality though. That's the only thing. I mean, it's okay. It's okay. Since I made that smaller, I wonder if I made this smaller, if I... Okay, that didn't seem to do much. Yeah, it's not changing. Interesting. Let's try, and because I don't like to go smaller than like 1.8 or 1.7. Let's try 1.8 and then go back up. Okay, that's not bad because we are really zoomed in. I think these would fill in. I really do. So let me just try something interesting. Okay. Okay, I think we're gonna go with that. 1.9 doesn't do anything, which is fine by me. Okay, 2.0 cut that off, if you noticed. So we'll leave it at 1.9. All right, so that's our center. And this down here, if I go into the density map, you are going to have some heaviness there, but that's okay. It's fine. I mean, you'll see that when you have a tie off, and that is where our tie off is. Because, well, let me think now. No, our tie off is up at the top for this one. But they're all going to be the same color, so it's not really going to tie off up there. It's going to continue on to the next object. Although, remember, you can make this a different color than the outer ones, like this is. You can do that. It would look really good. So, at any rate, so we have that one. Actually, yeah, that one is wider. I'm going to cheat again and go into vector view. I'm going to erase the stitches. Object, erase stitches. Edit this. And I'm going to cheat and make this wider. I just like it wider. I snapped to the note on the wide one. I just think it looks better. Somehow I, landed on a good shape that I liked up there. So that'll be our new shape. Oh, well, let's see how it generates now. Let's go into 3D. Got a gap again. That's funny. That is funny. Did I have a gap on this one? Let me see. Yeah, I did. I did. All right. Boy, for some reason that one just looks better. I don't know why. Don't know why. One sec. 3 stitches. So the other one was even wider down at the bottom. You'll notice that the one I made offline. And maybe that's why I like it. So again, sorry, I'm gonna cheat. I'm so bad. Okay. We're still snapped to it there. And obviously, oh, I see what it was. It was narrower up here. And then it came out wider. Interesting. And for some reason, I just really liked it. So, yeah, it's the same. Well, I mean, yeah. So I completely changed it now. So let's just see how it looks. It's got that gap. And again, I could go into params and try to adjust it to maybe see, okay, that doesn't help it. Okay, that I don't like at all. There's a point, it's called a limit, and it's where things change. So, and it's not reached that limit, and something changed there. Okay, that filled in. So, it's not going to fill that gap in. So that is very interesting. So maybe I should go back to it being wide. I don't know how I feel about that, because you have to think about this one then, because these long strips are going to be coming down, and you're going to have the same number of strips up at this end as you are at this end. So it's going to be real tight up here and real loose down here. So you have to think about that. So if I make this wider up here, the way it was, then this is really going to be dense and this will be loose, but it still might look good. It's such a small object, it'll probably look fine. So, I think I am going to go back to it being wide. So I still have my yellow one there to snap to it. And I still got snap to node on. See, that's why I don't really like to delete guides and outlines, because I always change my mind. Okay, so let's hide this one. Okay, this is our blue one. Our yellow was our original one that we were going to use. Well, we're not using that now, are we? So we can edit it anyways, just so that it looks like it. And down here, our yellow was, it was really, you know what? That's fine. That's fine. Because we have this gap here, and when we make the outer one, this is going to be our dotted line. So we're only going to come to this node right here. We're not going to come to this node. So I might change this up. We'll see if there's a gap or not, or just see how it looks. Sometimes it just looks good and I leave it. So anyway, so we just edited the yellow to look like this, even though we're going to be deleting the yellow. I just don't want to get confused. So our outers is done. I mean, not our outer, our inside oval, our center. And now I'll go ahead and I don't need any more guides to do the outers. So this one here is, if I edit it, you know, it's starting here, which means it's a column, so it's going to end on this side up here. So we can go ahead and start our next column up there. So I'll hit column, and what I've noticed is, okay, I'm going to click and then I'm going to snap that node to the ending node of the center one, so that it starts there, and then that's our dotted line you can see right here. And I'll just come, I'll use mode A, snapping to nodes. Got this side selected. I'll come down here and snap to that node. There's a node there, I can see it. Round node. I'm done with this side, with this left side, because if you recall, this was going to be my other dotted line, you know, this directional line. So I'm done with this side. So I'll click this side and I'll just click down here. There's my dotted line. I'm going to bring it down here. Right now, I have to overlap it anyways. So I believe what I did was overlap it, and it's snapping to a node there, and that's actually probably a good overlap. We've got my cursor here is on like 38.8 or whatever, and then now it's at 39. Here it's at 38.9. So it's only like 0.1. It's not much of an overlap, but we'll see how it goes. And this one, I believe, okay, it's snapped there as well because we need it to overlap up there. And that looks like it's snapping to something. Okay, that's it's not the oval that it's snapping to. It's probably snapping to one of my other designs in there, probably the one that I had hidden. But that's fine. We're going to go with that overlap and see how it goes. So let's hit enter, and you see the scissors here. That's because we have an overlap, so that's fine. We'll just right click, create connection, and there's our connection up there. So from the center one here, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. The center ones are supposed to stitch last. So let me get rid of this connection and put this in order. Sorry, insert after. I created the center one first just so that I could, let me just click on this and hit Control 1 to zoom into it. I created the center one first because it's easier for me to artistically see how I would want things to be and look and so on. And then it's easy to just create the side ones. But I forgot to put it in the correct order. So the side one is first. Completely forgot about that. And I have the side one starting up there. So, which I could leave this and just make the other side one be the first one. And I'll start it at the bottom. I'll just do that. Saves the work. So I'll just hit enter. I'll copy and paste this. I'll worry about my connections, after I copy and paste this. So Control C, Control V. This one's selected. Transform, flip horizontally. And I want this edge to be aligned with this orange edge. So here's my orange object. Then I hold Control and select this new blue object, transformation window, alignment tool, right side. The last one I selected here, this blue one is the last one I selected. That's the one that will move. Hit apply and it moved. It jumped over to here. So we'll hit close and we'll put it in order. So right click and hold, let go, insert before, and I've got to edit it. Now, I put it in the wrong order. Remember, I said this one was going to be first. So right click, let go, insert before. So this one's going to stitch first. And we can't have it starting up there. We're going to reverse the nodes. So it's starting down there. So I'll hit enter. And so this one is stitching and it's ending up there. Then this one stitches. It starts up here. But let's go ahead and right click on the second one, create connection. There's our connection. That's okay, but I'm thinking just to make this look even all the way across, maybe on the second one I will swap the edges so that it starts here, then the connection will go all the way across. So I'll hit edit and I will swap edges. So this will start over here. Swap edges. So there, now I hit enter and click the connection. It goes all the way across. And I can make this connection, have edited, and have the minimum length be bigger. And even the max I can make really big. And I think if you make the max, like, say I made it like 2.0, I think on this straight line, they'll all be 2.0. They won't be 1.5. Let me make sure. Generate measuring tape. Oh, somewhere in the middle. Well, because of the length of this, maybe they wanted to make it symmetrical. So they're all going to be this 1.83, which is fine. That looks good. So, and I could have tried to hide it within the center, but it's fine. It's fine. Like I'm saying, I could come in and, whoops. I could come in and edit it and, insert I could insert there, click insert there, so I have square nodes, and then I could bring that down and bring that there, bring that there, because this is the inside, this is the overlap, this is the actual. So just so I don't create a lot of bulk, I could do this. Just snap to guide, make this straight, make this straight. So I could do something like that. So then I only have stitches on the outside. I mean, I don't know how that would look. It might look worse. I mean, we would just have to see. So I'll just go with it for right now. And so I have these two. And did I change them to, I didn't change them into strips yet. So we'll go click on strips. So if you'll notice, I selected them all, even the connection, because it doesn't matter. The connection's not going to change. If I go into params, it brings up the column first. If I wanted to change the connection, I could. I would just click this. There's that connection. But this is just the column. So strips, we'll go, I'm just going to hold down. We're going to go with like 15 and 2 and 2.5 again. That looks so cool. But, you know, it's got the gaps there, which is so interesting. I do like the way it looks, but let's just see. Reminds me of an eagle. We're at 17. Filling in a little bit. I hate that. Okay. Interesting. It's almost like I just want to select the one on the left and make it denser, but I don't want to create, you know, an inconsistency there. Let me see what the density map is doing. You know, it does look slightly denser up here where it's tight. So, and it's interesting because it didn't fill it out here. You could see how it rounded a lot better over here. Sometimes when that happens, I say to myself, well, I wonder what would happen if I just took this one, or rather this one, and flipped it and put it over there, but sometimes that doesn't help. I'm going to do it anyways. So let's just see. Control C, Control V. The one I wanted to get rid of is that one. Turn it yellow. And then this one that I pasted, we'll flip it horizontally. Click on this orange outline, hold Control, click the blue, transformation window, align left, apply, close, oops, click on it, put it before the yellow, hide the yellow for a minute, click on this. So they both have the same, if I scroll over them, just so I don't make a mistake. Yeah, this is bright. If it were grayed out, that would mean they'd have different numbers, but they both say the same. And this is fine. So we'll get rid of the yellow, bring it back and delete it. And then this one, so this blue one here, if I hit edit, it's ending down here, which then this one should start down here, and it does. I could swap edges because it's starting, you could see it's starting on the right sides. Swap edges, right click, create connection. Just select them all. And we have something weird up there. Okay. Hide it to see which one it is. Okay. So that's that connection. Let me get rid of that for a minute. No, they're all the connections are going crazy. Oh, it's because I copied and pasted the right one. Now I have to make sure everything is correct. When I copied and pasted and put this left one over, well, I forgot to reverse the stitches because it can't start down here because this one is starting down here and ending up here. So the left one has to start up at the top. So reverse stitches. I forgot to do that. Now generate. Now my connection looks good again. It's how it was before. If I hide these, oops, my connection is there. It's doing that. That's because I didn't swap the edges on this one. It's starting here instead of here. Maybe that is why it looked sparse on this left side. Let's see, I might be back to square one. Let's just see. Yeah, that was why. Interesting. So it doesn't like to start over here because it doesn't fill it in as well. So that was my whole issue. This is gonna cover a lot up there. You're probably never gonna notice it. It's just that I'll know it's there. If I turn this a different color, you know, you can't really see that you have a stitch here and not there. I don't know. And I may not want it to look like that either. That was the other thing I had to decide if I wanted this point or not. So a lot of decisions with this. The other thing I could do is take the right side, edit, swap those edges, see what happens. So I have the same look now. That's funny. But since the edges are swapped, this one here, the connection is still not symmetrical. I could say this one here, it's it's starting here, so it's ending on this side. I could bring a connection all the way down and let the other one start down here and see what happens there. So that would mean then that this one, I would edit it, and instead of it starting up here, I'd reverse. It starts down here. I wouldn't want it to be on this edge, so I'd swap edges so it's starting down here now, which means the connection now is all wonky down, you know, like that. So this connection, I'll just edit everything. So I could bring it right through the center because this is going to stitch last. If I swapped this edge again, let's just see how it looks. Okay. So this side is filled out. So now let's go to this one and hit edit. Let's swap the edges here. So I don't want it starting on the outside anyway, so I don't know why I did that. So I'll swap those edges and just see. It's still ending at the top, but now it's ending over here. Fills it out nicely. And my connection is like that. It starts here and goes over and goes down. You can leave that as a different color, or so then to make it all one color, we'll just click on the blue, right click, hold, let go, set identical color, and then we'll click on the last one and we'll right click, create connection, and I'm going to go into vector view, and you can see how the connection is, you know, coming from here down to the start of the center. And you may say to yourself, well, you know, between this connection and this connection, I could make them both meet in the center and then curve them both, and it will all look symmetrical then. So that's what we'll do. So we'll click on this first one that we had created, click edit, and I'm gonna zoom in a little bit, and I'll just, let me go ahead before I do that. Let me select these all and erase the stitches just so you could see what I'm doing. So we'll click on the first one and we'll hit edit, and we'll take this node and bring it all the way to the center, and we'll zoom out, and the node down here is the one that we want to click on to make this a curved node here. So to curve up here, and then we'll just kind of drag it out and, you know, just try to mimic it. Maybe I'll go ahead and I'd like to try to maybe snap it to something. I'll just snap it there to the grid. It's halfway in between. I mean, it's hidden underneath, so that's close enough to match up the other one. And we'll go to the other connection then. Zoom out, hit edit, and you could see it's starting here. So let's click on this and hit insert, straight, hit this straight icon up there. Click this and go to center. And then this already has a curved node. And let's just snap it on the grid. I forgot that this isn't in the center of the hoop, so this isn't really going to be in the center of of a block here. So, and like I said, it's kind of okay because it's underneath, so I could just kind of make it look, I could put it on the line and just kind of make it look the same. It kind of doesn't down at the bottom though. Oh, that's just because this other line is here. Let me just hit enter and I'll see. So if I hold control and select them both, so this one it's ending up on top, but it has to come back down and start this one over here. So there isn't a whole lot we can do about it being symmetrical at the bottom. It has to connect where it does. And like I said, you're not going to see this because it'll be underneath. So that's done. So then up here though, they're both going to come to the center. So you'll have a line of stitching across there. So that'll look good. Let me make sure that they're both the same. They're grayed out, so they're not the same stitch length. So I believe this is the one that was 1.5 and 2.0. So we'll right click and hold, let go, set identical parameters. And now that I hold control and hit params, they're both the same. So that's good. So now they're all the same color and you can see what it looks like. It's going to be pretty good. It's not going to be too dense anywhere. So if I hit generate in 3D, that's what it looks like. And I think I might have changed the params again offline. Okay, so I have 1.8 and 2.4 for the outers. But this one I think I changed again. Yeah, I went 2.0 and 2.6. For some reason, when I was at 2.5, it didn't look good here. I got some inconsistency. And I just went up to 2.6 and it did fill it in a little better. And like I said, you're going to see every detail on the screen. It's going to look fine when you stitch it. And I have 19 layers here as opposed to the 17 on the outside, because of this little gap. But like I said, when you're at 1-to-1, that's how small this is going to be. You could still kind of see a little bit of the white though. Right, I'm at 1-to-1. So I don't know. I don't know if I want to increase that. I can't decide. I mean, because if I make the stitch length smaller, let's see. Yeah, see, it hasn't reached the limit point where it switches. Still hasn't. Still hasn't reached it. Okay, I saw something change up there. Yeah, these are not filling in. So I wouldn't go any smaller than that. And you don't want to apply 3 layers. So I'll try 21. Okay, that did fill it in. Let's see what the density map looks like. I mean, it's okay. Let's see what it was like when it was at 19. Not much difference in the center here. I mean, it is a little, these are a little darker. So I guess that's something you could just weigh in your mind to see, how it actually stitches out. I'll leave it at 19 for right now. I just hate to have a lot of density in a small object like this. But, and if I take the outer ones, let's go back into 3D. There it's 17, and they did look a little dark orange on the density map. Let me go to 15 and see. That's not bad still. Let me go and look at the density map. So now they all kind of look the same color. Yeah, they're a little darker up here, but that's can't be avoided. But these here and these here all look the same shade of yellow. So I'm kind of happy with that. So, whoops, I'll save that. And, the top looks good. And we don't even have an outline on it, and it looks pretty good. So the only other thing to do now is to, let's see, these lines here I could probably get rid of. I'll just wait. This was the original one that I made that was two-toned. Let me just take this and group it. And so this was the original. Let me hide that. Hide all of these. And you could see, I had gaps here as well. But this was a little bit different shape. This is the one I did off camera. And this one, the one in the center is, I make it a different color down in the parts window. You can see it's just a little slightly wider up at the top. And then this one, oops. I kind of like this one better now, even though it looks like it's got a little bit of a gap there. Thought we addressed that. You can really see it now because it's a different color than the blue. The blue is overlapping right here, I believe. So I could see blue underneath there. So that's why it's more obvious with when it's two-toned like that. Yeah, that was at 19. Well, that was where I said we could bring it up to 21. And see a little gap there and a little gap there. So I'm just going to leave it at 19. And like I said, we'll go back to the blue. I'll just write, no, I'm going to have two. I'll just ungroup it. So now we have this, the head and the body, and now we can address, let's bring this right after the body. Actually, what I'll do is I'll bring the body down. So, and I'll make the head like a different color so we could see clearly the difference. And I'll go into vector view. So now you can see that we can clearly make our triangles. If we let this body as is with all of this overlap, I mean, we could leave it because, I mean, to be honest, the way that there's gaps here, you may like it. Let's just see how it looks. And let's see what the density map looks like. I would have to edit the edges and whatnot. But let's look at the density map. Yeah, that's quite a bit there. Because when this was hidden, we had that going on. I don't recall it looking that bad. Oh, because I have this on. Oh, scared me for a minute. I had this one on up here. And wasn't that the one I was going to delete? I said I didn't really like it anymore. Yeah, so I'll just go ahead and delete it. And is this the one that we're using? Yeah, okay. And this was the original snake. And then I created this one above it. So I'll just leave those two in. I'll just turn them both yellow, just so I know. Okay, so this is basically what we're dealing with oops, with this current version. And so now if I'm looking at the density map with both of them, the body and the head right here, these two, I just see this bit of density here. And if I take the body away, there's definitely not as much. Now, if I bring it back and I go into vector view, you know, you can see that there is quite a bit going on right here, which is why, even though if I bring in a triangle here for the column, you know, I'm going to introduce a lot of edges when I do that, when I bring in this triangle as well. I'm going to introduce an edge here, and then this column, this current column, will have to be moved down, and it'll have to be moved. Let me just Control C, Control V. Now make it green. I'll hide this one. But this one, I'll just take it and I'll have to edit it. And I'll just bring down another guide. It has to overlap with the triangle. So I am going to end up creating an edge here. So you do create a lot of edges, and you may or may not make things worse, but let's just see. So this is, you know, a 1/2 mil into where the triangles are going to be. The triangles are going to be here. So this line here is going to be a 1/2 mil in. So in other words, when I edit this and bring it down, it'll be down here. But before I bring it down, I'm going to just, I'd like to kind of leave it and put in the triangle so that I have something to snap to. And then I'll bring this side, the body down. So I'll just hit the check mark and I will, let me get rid of this one. I'll bring the blue one back. So I'll just go ahead. I know this is the line where this column is going to end here. So my triangle is going to be here on this line. And it's going to overlap into here. So I'll just go ahead and let's see, this is going to be a column with pattern. So I'll click column with pattern. And this body is going to probably end on one of these two edges. So it looks like this is ending here. So let's just say we'll start it here. And it looks like I'm going to snap to the guideline that I have. And I'll just do the node. We'll take the grid off. So it's going to be a long column. It's going to overlap into here. And so that's my dotted line. And now this is going to stay a column. So, so side A, you're working with A again. We'll just click. And going to have to put it here because remember it's going to be overlapping. So I'm going to make it a straight line. So I have a little bit of overlap. And then the next side, we'll click on this node. And this dotted line will get horizontal as soon as I click. There's my horizontal. So, oops. So we want to overlap. So I'm going to click snap to edges instead of node because I want to come up a little bit. And that there. And snapping to edges, it's having a hard time snapping to this edge of the blue. So let's uncheck this guideline snap, and there it's snapped. So that looks about right. Let me hit enter. And I'll just Control C, Control V. So it's ending up here. I don't really want to come across here. So I may want to have this column end down here. So I'm going to edit it so it's starting here, reverse nodes order, but we want it to start on the inside. So swap edges. We can't do that because that means it's going to end over here, and I don't really want that. So let's swap them back. So now it's starting here on this edge. It'll end on this edge down here. Oh, I had the wrong one selected. So then let me move this one down. Insert after. So let's just delete this one because I want to work with the one that I just created. Starts here, so it's going to end there. Okay, so Control C, Control V, transform, flip. I might not be able to align it, but I might. It might align. Let's just see. It's not going to align perfectly because this edge isn't the same as this. But I'll just see what happens. I'll click the snake, hold Control, click the triangle, transformation window, left side. Okay, so I'll just have to edit it. So close that, click on this only, and edit. And snap to object edges. And snap that to that edge. That to that edge. And the guide. And let's click the guide. There we go. Okay. So oops. Okay. So now that I have my triangles made, I'm going to go ahead and lower this because I'm done snapping to it. And I didn't really snap too much, but I did on the, on the edges here. So edit it and I'll bring it down to here because remember it has to have some overlap with the triangle. The triangle's coming down to here. Let's zoom out a little. This is the blue one, so I don't have anything to snap to. They don't snap to themselves. They have to snap to something else. So I'm just kind of winging it there. There, that side. Okay. So let's make these, let's hold Control. We'll make these, we'll just make them all green. And let's move this, insert after. And so this is being stitched. Let's see where it's ending. So it's showing, this is being highlighted, but remember, it's starting on that edge, which means it's ending on this edge. So the red one is always where it's really ending, not the one that it's highlighted on. So we do want that triangle then to stitch first. But when we create our connection, this triangle is starting up there. And I thought, oh yeah, that's right, because I had to do that. So in that case, it's okay when we make our connection, we'll just kind of jut it in and out. So we have scissors, so we have to right click, create connection. And I don't want it riding on the edge. So we're going to make it straight and then insert. And I don't know if I want to just make it within the triangle. Maybe I will. Rather than coming into here. I'll just leave it like this. Because this is a solid, This is those strips too. It's going to cover that connection fine. And then after it stitches that one, now this last one, you can see that it's starting up there, but since this one here is ending down here, we could make this one, we could leave it starting there, just because then it'll look like this one will hide a connection inside. You probably would never know or see the difference, but I'll just leave it for right now. And so I'll right click, create connection. So there's the connection. We'll edit it. We'll make it straight. And then we'll insert. And then we'll just make it. We're going to have to insert again. Well, let's see. This is not stitched yet. So technically I could let it go like that, but I think I'd rather bring it down because there's a lot going on there. So I'm just going to snap it to a node here. Snap to node. And I'll just do it like that. Hit enter. And so this will all stitch continuously. Now, I didn't set the parameters on these. So let's just select them and then hold my right mouse with it hovering on this one, the snake, the original, let go, set identical parameters. So now they'll all have the same parameters. Generate 3D. You know, I'm using strips too, so it is going to look a little different there, but I do kind of like it. I do kind of like it. You could, if you wanted it to be more striped right in through here, you could go into the params and make the scale smaller on just the triangles. You know, and then it blends in more. The rest of them. Maybe even let's try 75. Maybe 65. That's pretty good. We'll let that go. And you could try auto corners. Hit apply. Not crazy about that. Could try auto shortening because this is small and you don't want to have a lot of density. So let's hit apply. Didn't seem to shorten things, but let's see what the density map looks like. Click OK, hit density map, and go back into params, zoom in a little. So with auto shortening on and with it off, I don't see any difference. I'll just leave it off. And we'll leave everything else the same. And you, with all of this here, this entire body, you may want to have it less dense, maybe 4.2. You know, that could make a big difference. Notice it got a lot lighter green and, you know, a little bit less dense. See if it still looks good. It does. So, um, but as far as, this here not meeting this, well, these stitches are going horizontal. So these stitch points, these penetrations, that's the pull part of push-pull. So these are going to pull in anyways. And I have the pull comp set at 0.2. So maybe, you'd want to switch it to 0.1, which is the default. And then those come in, by themselves. And they'll come in even a little more. And you may or may not like it, but you can always change it after a test sew. Now, auto shortening looks like it's got a square there. That means some of what I selected has auto shortening and some doesn't. So let's see what I did. Oh, okay. I didn't do auto shortening on this one. So we'll just uncheck it. Or I did auto shortening on this one. So we'll just hit apply. So now when I select them all, they should all be the same. Scale is grayed out because the scale of the triangles are at 65%. But everything else is bright. So let's just save that. And so now our body is all stitching as one, and our head here is all stitching as one. And remember, you always have this file, so you could always come back and say, I'd like the head to be a different color. So, maybe you want the head to be, totally different color. And you can do that. And it looks pretty. Maybe the green isn't the right color for the body, but, whoops, wrong one. That doesn't even look good, to be honest. But you can play around with it. Notice how this didn't select down there. Sometimes you have to click outside and then click in. But, it's not going down. Unless oh, okay, there we go. So you could play with your colors and whatnot. And, so you'll always have this file, and you can always make it bigger as well. Now, I don't really need the this outline anymore. I could keep it because, to be honest, I believe it perfectly outlined this head, and you could bring it down to the bottom, and you could, actually outline the head. So you can give it a triple bean, or you can, you can make it the same color as the round body. That sky's the limit. And, you could outline the body as well. You could just go and go with this. But then these here, I guess I really can delete them now. I'll keep this outline here, but I guess I'll just go ahead and delete all of the yellow. So they don't delete when they're grayed out in Studio Regular. So you could either bring them all to or just group them, bring them to, and then delete them. And erase guides. And there you have it, just a little lesson on columns. And now that, you know, everything else is gone, there's nothing grayed out or nothing hidden, rather, you can make this bigger if you want and see if everything still looks good. It's, it's only 3 inches long, but if this were a logo on a shirt, that would probably be about the right size for it. And of course, this snake isn't even long enough, so you could make it longer as well. But let's just see what it looks like if I grab a corner. Now it's 5 inches by 3. Now it's more for a handbag or something. It could still probably go on a left chest. 4.9, usually 4.5 is the limit on that, but let's just see. So you've got, gaps in there when you make it bigger, which is fine because you can always just go in, and there's quite a bit of overlap too. I could see the gray underneath. If I go into vector view, let's see, not too much, it's fine. So you could go in, you could just leave it in the parts window and click on it, and you could hit params up here, and you could increase it. Should have went into 3D. So there we're up at the 21 that we couldn't decide on before. And I'll try 23. That's better. That's probably about right. Let's look at the density map. Looks good. And the density map looks good everywhere, actually. Especially when it's bigger like this. So you've got a lot going on there, but that's fine. That's normal. So, now looking from far away, it looks like I see some holes in there. But looking up close, I don't. So, I mean, you could actually put a fill under there because look at the density map. It's very, very green. That means it's, really loose. So I could put a fill. It's going to make these really orange. It's totally up to you. I don't know how much more I would want to go on these strips. Oops. Let's click down here. I could go up a little more. Starting to get a little inconsistency there. Let me go down. That's a little better. I don't know how much I like it though. It's consistent, but a little bit consistent. No, I don't like that at all. Oh, isn't that interesting how it changes? The whole pattern changes. I actually like that. But let me look at the density map. It's not bad. And I could see a white dot there. Well, one other way is to make your hoop like red, your hoop color. Um, and then you could see, zoom out. You know, you can see it more when you zoom out, which is interesting. But, I mean, it's not bad. And like I said, if you wanted, for this one, for just the center, I'd probably ungroup it, click it, and say, if you just, if you click column to fill, you don't have the word create in front of it. Okay, so you're going to lose your column. So you have to Control C, Control V, and then the one you pasted, you can put it up in the right position. You'd probably, yeah, I guess, you'd probably want to put it right before it, especially since it's going to be the same color, and you don't want to have any misregistration. So saves time, saves everything. So we'll click on it, that, and we'll go convert column to fill. And I guess what you could do instead of doing the underlay is just give it a fill, or let's hide the original. Give it a motif or what have you. Let's go into params. So if I were just going to give it a fill, I would take away the underlay this time. And I could try fill number 2 at, say, a density of maybe 7. And apply. And you may say, I don't know how I feel about that. And you won't want to pull comp on that. You'd want it to be 0, because you don't really need for it to be going out to the edges so much. And, you know, as a matter of fact, you could shrink it. I'll show you that in a minute. Now, as far as pull comp, you can't right-click and make that negative. That would be strange. But anyways, yeah, I mean, you could try this fill. Now, the other fill that's really smooth is fill number 6. Down here. See, it's just smoother. And the rows aren't being completed. That means they're jaggedy. That's good, because, you know, our density is below 14. But I am going to increase it to 9 and see. Okay. I'm going to go with that for a minute. I'll hit OK. And I'll go to Transform, Shrink Object. I'm going to shrink it at first by 1. We'll try 2 mils, because that's 1 mil on each edge. It's different in Editor. Generate. Okay. Now let's bring this back. Let's look at the density map. It still looks good. And let's just create a connection. It's down there. That's fine. Just leave it. Group these. Now when we zoom out, I don't see any red through there. So that's something you could do, because remember these here, this is real tight in through here. Granted, it's fine there, but you know, this here is, you know, quite a bit looser than it was down here, and there's a lot of surface area, so it basically, it did need a little bit of help. So there you go. And let's see. This is the body. This is the outer part of the head. And that's the inner part. And then this is outlining, and I do kind of like how it's outlining all the way down like that. And I don't really think I want an outline around the body. So I think I'm happy with it like that. So it's funny because now that I'm far away, I see red here underneath here. So you can go ahead and do the same thing with this, and you can shrink it just enough so that it's only, the fill is only covering this part and not up here. That would be interesting. Let me just do it real quick, and then we'll do a sew sim. I didn't have to do that. So let's just Control C, Control V, and I guess I'll ungroup it. I'll get rid of these. And we'll click on them both. Convert column to fill, or column to fill. And then actually take the fill that was in here, and we'll see if we can pull it from the parts window without ungrouping it. So I'm going to slide over. No, I can't. I have to ungroup it. Ungroup. So we'll slide over this fill, hover, hold right mouse, drag, let go, set identical parameters. But now each one we're going to shrink. Now, if I shrink them while they're selected, I don't think they're going to shrink the way I want. Let's go into vector view. So we'll just click one, transform, shrink. Let me change the hoop color so I could see better. Okay, so it didn't want to shrink that right. So you could see what it did. It just distorted everything. So I'm wondering if it's because I shrunk it 2 mils. Let me shrink it 1 mil. Yeah, that's interesting. So it's really not doing what I wanted to do. So I'll just do it manually. It's probably just because of the shape of it. So Control C. So I guess I'll make it shorter and see what happens. You make it shorter and it juts in there. Make it narrower. I'll have to fix that up there. Go in a little more. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix it with the nodes. Because I don't really want it to be encumbering any stitches that are overlapping and whatnot. So let's just erase stitches here so I could see what's going on. So, and let's make these for right now a different color so I could see what they're doing a little better. Okay. So let's go back. Okay, there. And I'll edit the nodes after I get this side in. Okay, so I'll have to bring that out. And then bring this up. I don't really want to cover up too much of what's going on down here. Maybe a little bit. I don't know how I feel about that. So now I'll edit it. And I'll bring this in. This. This blue line is there, so I'm going to bring this in just a little more. I don't need that node. I guess I'll close edges up here. Actually, now I'll close them there. Oh, I forgot. It's tight up here. I don't need it up there. I wasn't thinking. Sorry about that. So I really only need it down here. So I messed up. I can't see what I'm doing. Close edges. Let's just try that and see. So if I put it behind, take it, insert before, set identical color, generate. Okay, so I don't see it down there. And okay, and I don't see any gray or red showing through when I zoom out. So I'm going to take this now and Control C, Control V, transform, flip. I'm just going to hold my control button and drag it to where I think it should be. because it'll stay horizontally in the same spot then. So we'll get rid of the green one that we made. Take this one. Insert. Actually gonna wanna ungroup this. I could just stitch these together. I'm going to do that because this is stitching right after. It's not going to have a misregistration. So I'll just right click on the second one, create connection. So the connection is down there. I mean, this one, the first one, it's starting at the bottom. I think I'll start it up here. No, let's see. I think I'm going to end it here. Even though it starts down there, I'm going to end it here. And then this one, because there's a lot going on at the bottom, down, you know, down here. So this one I'll start here. It's okay if I go straight across. You're not going to see it. And I guess it's okay that it ends down there. I think I have these in the wrong order because this one, it starts on the right. So I have these switched. So I messed up again. So insert before. Insert before. So this one, starting at the top, I guess I will have it start down here, end up there. Because then if you make everything all one color, at least the start point will be down here by the body. And then a connection to this one. So then this one will start up here. And I guess we'll just have it end here, because then this one, if I create a connection, see how it's starting down there, which is fine. So that connection then is just going to look like that, and that's fine. So that's something you could do to fill in the background. And I'll just make sure on both of these that I don't have any underlay, which I don't. And they're at 9, 0 pull comp. We don't need pull comp for that. And so this is all one. And so let's go ahead and generate. On group 1 is taken, group 2. See how well that covers. And it looks fine. Let's get the density map. Let's stitch that. Save. Okay, we've got a little bit more orange in here, but we expected that. It's still not bad. This we expected. It's in the center here, so at least it's not on the edges where it's going to pucker things. So I think it's good. So I still see a red dot right there. But we're going to just go with it. I think it's fine. Make sure I save it. We'll do a sew sim. Control A, sim. I can pause it. We can have it stop on Jump between objects. Inside objects will do. And we'll just have them pause in those two places. We'll play. And we will make it a little faster. All this brown is done. So that's good. We didn't have a jump until then. So we'll play. Okay, I did not, so that's weird why it didn't stop after the brown. Think about that. So let me click color change to stop and let's see what happens. Okay, so it stopped on the color change. I just wonder why it stopped on the brown, even though I didn't have color change selected, but yet it stitched the blue when I only had these two selected. So I might be tired, but we'll just keep going. So we have all three of these chosen. Blue and it stops, and then that's the outline. So there you go. And so we'll compile then. It's saved. Bring it into editor. Jeff is what I use. Jeff Plus. And there it is. It's really pretty. I like it. It's very, very pretty. I decided to shrink up this fill that I have behind the center portion of the head. And because if you recall, there's a lot of density at the bottom. If I go on the density map, you know, it's a little bit darker orange right there. So I forgot about that. So I'm going to go ahead and go back into 3D first. And I'm just going to take this fill and I'm going to just shrink it up. Take the bottom and shrink it up. Let me go into vector view to see, Control Z, and see what change that made. Let's see. So as I shrink it up to say there, okay, and I may not even need it up there where it's kind of tight. And let's generate that. Let's go back into 3D and then generate it. Okay, I don't see much difference. That little white dot there was there before, I believe. So let's go into the density map. And I still see the dark orange there, but, you know, I alleviated more density down here. So I'm happy with that. And up here as well, I may even be able to bring it down a little bit more up here. Let's just see. Let's generate. Okay, go into 3D. Yeah. I also forgot to see if I could loosen up the densities on each of these since I have a fill under them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I have the center column selected and I'll just go into parameters. It's set on 27 strips. Let's go down to say 23 and hit apply. I see some little white dots, but remember, I'm zoomed in. So when you're zoomed in and you see this, it may not be really accurate. Let me just hit OK and hit the density map. And let me also hit params again and go back to 27 where it was and hit apply and see the difference. Okay, so that was really orange with 27, but then down to 23, it was an improvement. And let's just hit OK. And we'll go into 3D. When I went to 21 off camera, I think maybe it's getting a little loose. Let's just see as I zoom out. Yeah, I'm not sure I like 21. So 23, I do see some white in there. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to really ever know until you sew it out. Because let me think about this. Okay, I see the white right there. Let me see where my fill is. Okay, my fill is just covering that. It is possible that I could, widen my fill a little, but then it gets into the overlap between the gold and the blue. So, if I do 25, it does cover it. It does cover it. It's a little inconsistent with the stitches. Like I see 3 stitches here and only 2 there and so on. But that you can also mess with your stitch length to get your pattern to be. Now see, that's a totally different pattern. Interesting though. It's very consistent, but totally different. Again, very different. You've got these thick bands on the edges. It is just so interesting how it behaves. We're back to that. It's a little inconsistent on the edge. I wouldn't want to go bigger than 2.6. I'm not sure how I feel about that. That might cover things up a little more. I could be here all day deciding on a pattern now. And let's see, that's ending right there where I do see some white there. So, but let's look at the density map. Okay. I see some orange, but I'm going to go ahead and lighten these outer ones as well. So, if I take this fill and bring it up, just a hair, it does fill in some of the white up there. So that looks okay. I'm gonna kind of go with that. But see, I didn't go down much from 27. Let me go back into 3D. Let's see. Because I was on 23. Okay. That is something. Okay, let's just go with that, and we'll group these. We'll go into the columns, not the fills, because we already shortened the fills. We'll go into these columns, ungroup these outer ones. And if I go into params, so they're on 15. Let's just see. Okay, that does it. I think that does introduce a lot over here that I'm not happy with. I could tell already. I'm not going to be happy because 15 is pretty low. I even still see a gap there. Let me see. Ooh, maybe I want to go up instead of down. Oh dear. Okay, let's see. Let's try 17 on here. This is where you can really fine tune. I mean, there is a little bit of a gap there. Okay, so I'll just do that. They are closer. I know I'm going to be introducing more orange. I go into the density map, but I'm actually happier with that. My fills on here, you could see that they're pretty low. Let's see. You know, as far as up here, could I bring it down more? Could I bring this up more? I don't know. Probably. Probably. So let's just see. Since I have two of them, I think what I'll do is hold control and select them both and go into the transformation window, because that will, right here, the sizing, uncheck this. This will keep it all centered. So when I take the length and go from 15.8 to say 13, it'll shrink equally on top and bottom. It'll stay centered in the objects and so on. Okay. So it still looks the same. I can grab this one and drag it up. Up, not with this open though. Oh, but they're going to both shrink and then I'm going to have to edit them. I forgot about that. Which is fine. I can go in and edit them. Let's just generate them. Okay, I don't see a change. And, you know, this down here is covered up. So I'm not really seeing the ends of these with this outline and so on anyways. So let's go ahead and go into vector view, and I'll just edit them individually. Sometimes it's easier, since this is the ending, you'll have two separate, you know. Oh, it's not, because it's a fill. I forgot. I'm thinking of an outline. Okay, so I'll bring that in, bring this in, and I'll bring, it's up here, sorry. Because on a fill, you can state where you want it to end. It doesn't necessarily have to end at where the beginning and end connect. So I guess my point being, I could have changed these, but I'm not going to. It's too much work. I'll just close edges and kind of go that. 3D, generate. Let me zoom out. Okay, that looks good. And we'll make the other one smaller. And like I said, I could copy and paste this and bring it over. Maybe I'll just do that. It's easier. Control C, Control V. Oh, but then at the start and end, I don't want to have to deal with all that again. I'll just edit it. So, like here, it's going to be separate, but that's okay. I'm just going to do it. Maybe a little bit closer. Move this out. Close edges. That's good. Go into 3D. Doesn't seem to make much of a difference on these now, but I'm not sure because, and see, I can see white in that center, but I know it's covered. I know it's covered. I hope it's okay. And again, you're never really going to know for sure. Let's just group it all with even with the connection. Because my fill here, it's at 9. If I brought it down to say 8, you know, maybe that makes a difference. Because this wasn't as orange as the outers anyways. So I guess I'm okay with that. And like I said, you'll never know for sure until you do a test sew. But these were just some things that I forgot once I made the other changes. So, oops. So we'll leave that at 8, and I'm just going to go with that. Okay. And I'll save it, and then I'll compile it into editor and save it as a Jeff Plus again. So it's got a different pattern now in the center than what you'll see in the next screen. Let me make sure where that is. So this is covering this. Let me just see if I go and edit that. Maybe I'll bring it out just a little bit more. And maybe, oh, I've got some nodes here. See, I didn't see that. Maybe I'll bring it out like this. And straight, close. Oh, what happened there? Did I generate that? Oh, I didn't generate it. Okay, so there I generated it. Okay. So I'll just go ahead and compile it like that. So here's the new one down here. Boy, I can see the beige showing through on that one. But not when I zoom in. Interesting. But I do like it better. I do like it better. So, you know, you can definitely play with that. Just know that, you know, you'll always have that EOF file. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this one. Oop, trash. Oops, magnifier's on. Select, Delete. Sometimes the delete doesn't work and you have to hit the trash can. That is weird that that's showing like that. And I see a gap right there too, but I don't see it as I zoom in. A lot of times with Embird, and with any program, you know, the resolution on the screen is not exactly perfect. So you do kind of want to take that into consideration. Center. Whoops. Okay, there we go. Now we got it. So there it is. It's really pretty. Really pretty. All right, guys. Well, next time we meet, we'll see you then. Take care. Bye.